revolving door at the Trump White House has revolved once more. This time it's that famed hawk, the walrus mustachioed John Bolton, kicked out. No longer the president's national security advisor. For more, I'm joined from Los Angeles by Peter Mathews. He's a political analyst and political science professor at Cypress College. Peter, let's start with this issue of whether Bolton was pushed or whether he jumped. Now, this morning, Tuesday morning, when everyone was reporting that he'd been fired, Bolton texted a host on Fox News. Let's just take a listen to that.
John Bolton just texted me just now. He's watching.
Can you read it?
Yeah, he said, let's be clear, I resigned. And I said, do you mind if I say that while you were talking? And he wrote, yes.
So, Peter, what do you think actually happened here?
I think it was pushed out by the president. I mean, John Bolton would like people to think he resigned to save face, but they disagreed on a lot of things. And Bolton comes from a very interesting perspective and kind of a dangerous one. He's, I would call a radical nationalist, not even a neoconservative. He was ready to push the country into war, and Trump got tired of that. And in the end, he got rid of him. But there's a big difference between neoconservatives and radical nationalists. You know, neoconservatives, he was part of that team under Reagan and Bush and W. Bush. But also, what happens with the radical nationalists is they don't really care about promoting democracy like neocons do, as well as regime change. Bolton was ready to take on any country and overthrow the government if need be, and Trump got a little tired and concerned about that.
But his departure is, I think, by my count, the 46th departure from the Trump administration. I mean, Steve Mnuchin there to Jim Acosta was very clear, saying, no, this is not chaos. That's a ridiculous question. Is this normal to have that many people leave an administration in this amount of time? We're still in the first term.
Absolutely not normal. I mean, there's no other presidency in recent memory, and maybe any memory, that had this many people leave. And it has to do with the chaos at the very top, that the president has not vetted his people carefully. He brings in people that don't even have similar views to him at times. And sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. But it's a totally chaotic situation and very dangerous for U.S. foreign policy and even domestic policy. So absolutely not. There's never been happened before in our history, and we got dangerous situations continuing for the next year and a half or so.
Is it
with this president?
I mean, is it a functioning government?
Many people would say, experts, including those who are just observing, is that it's not a functioning government because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And one thing we need in politics, Nick, is consistency. And even the economy needs that. Business people cannot do business in the world. There's total chaos and inconsistency and the threat of war, the threat of boycotts and trade embargoes like in China. And this has been going on and on and on for the last 2.5 years. It's really going to wreck the American economy. We've already seen a downturn in the economy and a prediction of a big recession coming up next year because of this chaotic environment, a political environment.
And I want to run some poll numbers past you, Peter. There was a CNN poll came out this afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, and in that, 6 out of 10 Americans say that President Trump does not deserve to be re-elected. And one other number that really struck me was that the only demographic that he is polling above 50% is white men. He's at 54% with white men. He is at 3% with black women. What does that tell us?
He's losing suburban women. He's losing college-educated women. He's lost them already, and even some college-educated men. It tells us that he's got a very, very small, narrow base of about 38% who say that he could be president again. They may support him. 38% is not enough, Nick, even to win electoral votes in Michigan and Pennsylvania. And in those states, he's actually underwater in those states that he won last time. So he cannot do it with just white men. He's about to lose this election, but it's very difficult to see how he can even bring back some of the people he's alienated, like suburban white women. It is impossible because he's alienated them so badly with the way he treated women and the issues that he has about gender equity, et cetera, and inequity. So it's a very bad situation for this president at this point. Not very optimistic, in my view.
And, Peter, just finally, I want to get back to the Bolton thing. I mean, what happens next? I mean, many positions in the Trump cabinet are sort of being temporarily filled by people. Trump has said that, you know, he takes his own advice. Is there any point in him even filling this job of national security advisor?
You know, he's also said he prefers temporary assignments because he can then control them and fire them and reassign them. And that's very unstable for the United States government and foreign policy and domestic. And yet the president seems to be operating this way. He seems to think he can have more control when he doesn't go through a Senate confirmation and get a permanent position. In this case, he might just come up with a temporary acting national security advisor, which is also very bad for us in terms of the chaotic situation in the world today and the crisis in Iran, for example, Afghanistan. Those things have to be solved by someone who knows the long-term interests of this country and of the world. And this is not what's going to happen after John Bolton leaves, has left already.
Peter Mathews joining us from Los Angeles. Thanks very much.